Yo, what's up? It's your boy Currency 365. Hope you guys are doing well. Legends never die, they stay in our hearts. If you want to support us, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also you can come down here and hit the join button under the video or in our channel section. And you can also join our Patreon, patreon.com/currency365. And we also have Cash App and also PayPal for support if you want to sow some seeds. Peace out. God bless. Enjoy the video and keep the movement going. Legends. Bye.
Thank you, Professor Chu and Kais, and great to see all of you here today. Very exciting time. I'm very excited to have this presentation today. We have actually, talked about Lavita in different avenues, but the first time that we're talking about it live in Korea. And we're going to have some exciting stuff to share about what the company does, what the mission is, but also some exciting things about general applications of AI in healthcare and medical applications, and something that hopefully will resonate with you as well, and something that we can follow on in the future. So Lavita is a company started about a couple of years ago. It's a pioneer in health information and data marketplace. So using technologies in Web3, in AI, of course, a lot of recent excitement about large language models, and also with a lot of focus on privacy and computing, such that personal information is always private and secure. There are really, when you look at the last 5 years in terms of these technologies, there have been 3 major trends. First of all, there has been a lot of emphasis on individuals' ownership of the data. So when you look at the biggest platforms today, when you look at Facebook, Meta, when you look at Google, when you look at a lot of the platforms today that people use, you realize that actually people, though they have a lot of information shared on those platforms, they don't necessarily have control over how they share it, who they share it with, and to what extent they want to keep it private. When it comes to health data, this is actually more pronounced, because health data is very, of course, because of privacy reasons, very sensitive. People may not just want to share it with everybody, but at the same time, for a variety of reasons, maybe for research purposes, maybe for other purposes, they like to share it with specific researchers or family members, etc. So that individual ownership to allow and enables people to be able to securely and privately share their data has not been there. And Lavita is one of their core missions to enable that. At the same time, data privacy is very important, right? So data privacy is, of course, using technologies such as secure computing, which is based on different software and hardware applications. So using technologies such as multi-party computation, homomorphic encryption, differential privacy, or hardware-based solutions such as SGX or other technologies that allow for computing in a secure environment, allows for researchers to do computing over data without actually compromising the underlying privacy of the data. So when a researcher goes and conducts research on a set of data that Lavita provides, they actually don't get to see the underlying data. They only see the statistical aggregated result, but with all the, of course, security benefits that allows for them to conduct the same research as if they had access to the raw data. And then perhaps most importantly, in the last couple of years, what we've seen is the tremendous advancements in natural language processing, applications of large language models, vector databases, different modality to healthcare data, and of course other fields. And this has been an exponential, of course, growth for those areas. So with these advancements in these kind of 3 trends, Lavita really emerged in the last couple of years to allow individuals to be able to share their data and own their data in a secure way. So what we envision with Lavita, what we call it, is a decentralized health data marketplace. And we'll talk about that in the future. But there are really 2 main components. So there is data contributors, which are individuals. Essentially, anybody in this room can be a data contributors. So when you think about it, each individual goes to doctors. They may have records at a hospital. They may have some information that they captured themselves. There's some information on the electronic health record systems, all of those. And all of the data, most of the time, currently is siloed, sitting somewhere. Maybe it's hard to share it. And if you did want to share it, you always worried about what's going to be the privacy primitives. Is it going to be compromised, et cetera, et cetera. On the other side, you have data miners. So perhaps a lot of AI researchers fall into that. So being able to access high-quality data that you can use for advancing the AI research, specifically in health and medical application, that's the key. And of course, Lavita wants to connect all these components together. So for data contributors to be able to contribute proprietary data to data miners, and at the same time provide those privacy primitives for them, that's the key to Lavita. At the same time, health providers also kind of the other end of this ecosystem. So health providers provide this, of course, health services, provide various, of course, electronic health record access, all of those that will feed into this ecosystem and then allows for the marketplace to take shape. The core technologies that we're using in Lavita, and we'll show some of it later, really there are some interesting components there. So we talked about how secure computing and secure data storage is a big part of that. So that means that all of the data is only stored in an encrypted format. It's only the users themselves, the individuals, the patients, the individuals that have access to the decryption key. So only it's them that they can decrypt. So the data sharing only is available and allowed by the user's consent themselves. At the same time, a lot of AI-powered research tools that are built on top of the Lavita platform allows for data miners to be able to come and access the data with the contribution from data providers. And then part of it is also enabled by blockchain system that allows this to be managed in a decentralized system. So no matter where you are almost in the world, if you're a data contributor in Korea, in Asia, or in the US, you'll be able to participate in this ecosystem, and a lot of this is enabled by that decentralized technology. And the key management system that I mentioned, that's a core part of it. So bringing this all together, maybe also to tell you about why actually we brought the company together and why we're here today. So I started my career, as Professor Chu mentioned, after finishing my PhD, actually working as an investor. So back in 2016, I started working at a venture capital company called Camford Capital, which is based in Silicon Valley, California. And I started looking at, okay, what are the interesting technologies, what are the interesting startups that we can invest in? And in many cases, those interesting startups and companies were actually being founded by students and researchers like yourself. So doing some interesting research in an academic institutions, and then finding applications for it, and then deciding, hey, this is a good time for making a company out of those ideas. So I can give you some examples. So these are some companies that actually over the last 8 years we have invested in, and I've been fortunate to get involved with. It's specifically, a lot of them, of course, work at the intersection of AI, healthcare, and medicine. So companies that use AI in digital health, in kind of AI platforms. So since 2016, and I think, of course, going on all today, there are a lot of advancements in medical image applications and medical image processing using various techniques, of course, starting with deep learning back in 2015. So as ImageNet emerged and a lot of those applications emerged, people were able to use these techniques to almost match the best radiologist or match the best pathologist in making those assessments of if somebody has cancer or initial cancer screening using pathology slides, or using CT scan slides, or using other modalities. So companies we work with, like Path AI, as you can see on the lower half, or Viz AI, exactly emerged at that time, using those AI technologies to actually make a company, make a startup that works with hospitals, work with researchers to apply medical image processing, specifically deep learning, to those medical applications. A few years later, another trend emerged. So around 2017-18, a lot of companies emerged that use AI for drug discovery. So depending how familiar you are with drug discovery, it's a very lengthy process. So it takes about $1 to $2 billion to bring a new drug to the market. So that usually means that You have to identify what are the genetic targets at a cellular level, be able to find new small molecule or other modalities to target those entities, and then do all these expensive clinical trials to eventually, get a drug to the market. And every year there are, a handful of drugs that come to the market, and they usually cost billions of dollars over time. Drug discovery AI platforms actually thought, and as a lot of people got excited about it, that using AI you can shorten that process and save a lot of money by being able to assess using these technologies. Again, a lot of network genomics, a lot of applications of graph-based AI models, how you can actually model a cell operates. For example, how a small molecule operates and interacts with cellular targets, and then how those interactions affect how the cell behaves. And for example, if it's a cancerous cell, does it help to kill the cancerous cell? And so on and so on. So companies that you can see on the middle upper side of the slide actually emerge from those. So using different modalities, for example, using AI to sift through millions and millions of different antibodies, this company called Alchemab, and then be able to use those as a way to actually create new antibodies-based drugs. So those AI applications, now going back to kind of my story, were very exciting for us. So we saw all these technologies coming in and being able to allow researchers and these new entrepreneurs, again, many of them from academic institutions, to find ways to bring these new technologies to healthcare and medical application. Now, a few years passed, and still a big bottleneck remains. And that bottleneck is still mostly around data. So what we observe is that actually for many of these companies, and even the companies on the other areas that may not be using AI, is still the bottleneck how we can harness the data so we can recruit the best patients for our clinical trials, so we can get the best modalities for specific disease that we're targeting. And that data limitation was coming back to the fact that many cases healthcare data is isolated, is siloed, and it's very hard to access. Even individuals themselves, if they want to access their health data, they're having a hard time. It could be sitting in some hospital system, it's very hard to access, you don't have a unified place, maybe there are multiple hospitals, how you can kind of bring them all together in one place. Many of the systems still were paper-based, not electronic, etc., and so on. So we got together, so that's kind of my background and my motivation. We got together with a bunch of other people, so working kind of with people that are focusing on the AI side. So I'll mention a few of them on the right-hand side. I work with Pedram, Elnaz, both of them are PhD and highly published. And then some other notable folks that are focusing on privacy computing, so using technologies that allow for data privacy, again, using both software and hardware-based technologies on those sides, and got together and said, okay, let's start a company. We should tackle this problem. And that's how we started Lavita. At the same time, we were very fortunate. I'd like to thank our advisory board, Professor Chu, one of our advisors, as well as advisors from other great universities like KAIST, Harvard University, Dartmouth, that are helping us to tackle these problems and find both the right talent and also collaboration, both in terms of getting the right research partners and finding the right talent to work on this platform and advance work with Lavita. We have also advisors that are focusing on secure computing and privacy from Indiana University, from University of Southern California, and so on. Actually, one of our advisors has been the recipient of the largest NIH grant ever, granted specifically for medical data privacy from Indiana University, and we're very fortunate to work with them. So going back to Lavita, I want to talk about a little bit what it does and why it's important. And then hopefully we'll have, of course, some time for Q&A at the end. So please feel free to have some questions there, but also along the way, happy to answer any questions you may have. So what we are thinking and envisioning for Lavita platform, this is a website which actually will go live end of March. So I encourage you to visit that at the end of this month at platform.lavita.ai. Is where users, what we call data miners, as I mentioned, will be able to come in and consolidate all their medical and health data in one place. So imagine that you want to look at your, almost like a full history, Similar how you look at maybe Instagram or Facebook and all those platforms, of course, in social media, and you can kind of go back in this timeline and look at all the activities, interactions, events, posts, pictures, etc., that you had with your friends, with your family. What if you had something similar with your health data? And of course, with all the privacy, nobody else can see it but just for yourself. But then look at your full history, regardless if you visited different doctors, different hospitals, or if you had different conditions. What if you want to share that information with important people to you, let's say family members? So you want to talk about that with other family members that may encounter similar situation, from their health perspective. Or if you want to share that with some researcher, so you want to share some of that data because you care about finding a cure for some condition that you also may have be facing in your life. So what if that existed? And that does not exist today. So what if you had such a place? So the Lavita platform is the answer to that. So we want to have a place where any person, again, around the world, be able to consolidate and put all their data in one place, and then be able to see all of that data, and using these privacy technologies, be able to share that securely and privately with others. So you can imagine, in such a platform, you can see different types of data. We talked about medical image data. We talked about electronic health records, genetic data. So what if you have taken a genetic test and actually had your gene profile? There are companies do that, in US, for example, 23andMe, other countries as well. And you have that in one place. Or let's say you have some statistical data that actually you have gathered through some research yourself. So as a medical researcher, you want to have all in one place. That you can do through Lavita platform. Most exciting, we actually announced, and now this is part of the March launch, that you can directly integrate electronic health record systems to Lavita platform. So you won't have to manually type in all this data. All you have to do, let's say if you visit a hospital and that hospital turns out to be working with Epic, which is one of the electronic health record companies, you can directly connect Lavita platform to the hospital's electronic health record systems and have all of data, of course with the user's consent themselves, be coming to the Lavita platform. And the Lavita platform, as soon as they come in, is encrypted, and it's encrypted with a key that's only available to the patient itself. So it's only the patient that gets to decide when I want to view the data, if I wanted to share the data, and so on. We made this announcement back in 2023. So we had the integration with Epic, which is one of the largest electronic health record systems. And actually, they have a big presence in South Korea as well. So South Korea itself has been going through an expansion of use of electronic health records. So more and more people and more hospitals are using it. I was discussing it with Professor Chu this morning. There are more, of course, advancements in using kind of standardization. So then, different hospitals use the same system and moving away from legacy systems in a standardized, data compatible format, so that it's easier and easier for people to share that data. So companies like Allscripts, Cerner, Epic, all of those, which of course Lavita has integration with. So this is one of the key aspects of Lavita I talked about. So this data platform that allows for data contributors and patients to come and provide their data. And that data itself can become a fantastic place for researchers, for AI researchers, medical researchers to come and with the user's consent themselves, get access to that data and conduct their research. And going back to what I started in kind of my background, answer those limitations, that data accessibility still remains a big bottleneck in medical research, specifically with AI research in medical fields. The second aspects of Lavita is what we call Lavita Assist. So actually, if you go to this website, you can see it live right now, assist.lavita.ai. And it's a medical chatbot, so based on Llama 2 large language model. It's a fine-tuned model, 13 billion parameters, that is a personal assistant for your medical questions. So you can ask medical questions. Of course, this is all anonymous. So you can ask medical questions for, of course, yourself, your family members, anything that you're curious about. and get answers from this engine. And this engine, of course, behind it is fine-tuned, as I mentioned, with specific medical information. And it's something, of course, we're improving over time. And this has actually been one of the areas that we're conducting research, that how we can use Lavita Assist, and as people interact with it and provide feedback, improve the large language models behind it to answer better, more accurate medical questions and answers. So, for example, Google published, if you follow that field for medical LLMs, MedPAM2. So this was last August, 2023. And they, of course, say it almost matches the accuracy of trained doctors. But still, when you use it, there's still a lot of deficiencies. And again, a lot of it comes back to the fact that there is that data bottleneck. At the end of the day, the best foundation models are useful for a specific topic if you can train them for the data on that. And again, that's where we want to have Lavita to come in, by providing that data, by engaging the users to be able to provide and share that data to improve the AI applications and AI models in medical field. So I want to make a switch to and talk about a little bit something maybe a little more interesting also for the audience, a specific, okay, what does it mean for a PhD student or a graduate student at this time, and how is it useful for me? So a topic that we're working on right now, and I'll talk about some of our work and what we're working on over the summer, aligning LLMs with human preferences. Actually propose the framework in which you don't even have to have a separate reward model. You can directly use your preference data to directly improve your LLM and have kind of in one step. So very exciting stuff. But regardless of the framework, really the core of it is to how use the human preference to improve the quality of the LLM models. So what are we doing with that? So I mentioned about Lavita Assist, which is a chatbot. So people, lay users or experts, go ask questions. And by providing feedback, now this feedback could be as easy as a thumbs up or thumbs down, so kind of a binary feedback. Or it can be written feedback, so there are places that you can go and then type in, oh, this answer does not, for example, directly provides information about the question or answers a different medical question or whatever that is. And provide that feedback, and then provide essentially this reinforcement learning that we talked about to improve the underlying chatbot. I mentioned in the beginning that there are three kind of elements to Lavita, which one of them was individual ownership and decentralization, and blockchain is also part of it. So our vision for Lavita Assist, this medical chatbot, is essentially a community-owned, perhaps hopefully one of the largest communities to be built, of patients themselves. So patients that care about some medical cause or medical situation. Help us to improve this large language models behind this chatbot to, over the time, improve and improve such that this becomes the most comprehensive source of truth for when you want to find answers to some specific medical questions. So, instead of just searching on WebMD or simply doing a Google search, or even just relying on a general LLM like GPT-4 that may not be as attuned to specific medical questions, you'd be able, by getting feedback from community, to get the best answers you can. And then that would be something that's owned, actually open sourced and owned by the community itself. More specifically, what we're doing with this reinforcement learning that I mentioned, so we're getting these queries. So far, we have thousands of queries through the Lavita Assist. These queries are checked, kind of in this AI pipeline that you can see, are checked for quality using LLM annotation and also some manual check. And that gets us a very high quality medical questions database. So these are a pair of question and answers that can be used as kind of the grounding force for improving the LLMs. If you look at some of the published work, for example, for MedPAM I mentioned, they have a database that very high quality that has been used by a lot of researchers around the world. It's around 500, between 500 to 1,000 questions, depending on how specific medical areas you want to zoom in. But it's not that much. Imagine that's like one of the best state-of-the-art data set that exists. So what if we have a data set with tens of thousands of high-quality questions, and what type of AI research and improving this foundation models that it can enable? So all those questions then, of course, will be used in a evaluation pipeline. So that's where we have physician and lay users to compare the answers and then provide that feedback that I mentioned a couple of slides ago for improving the LLM using RLHF, reinforcement learning with human factor. And as we're doing that, so we are already in the process of drafting and finalizing a paper with this approach. What we're very excited about is actually to do this in other languages. So what we encountered was the current models, the current foundation models, are very limited, generally, but even more specifically in medical field, for answering questions in other languages. So what if we can build the same high quality medical question and answer, let's say in Korean? How useful that can be for AI researchers, in that specific language, and then providing that value to that language. So that's one of the kind of ambitions, short-term ambitions that we have for the summer, that we're working to actually, Korean is the first language that we're working on to provide this high-quality database and use that to improve LLM models specifically for this language. So hopefully some exciting work. Last year, we actually, kind of similar, we were at ACL 2023. So I don't know if, maybe by show of hands, anybody here was at ACL? Okay, there we go. So hopefully next year we'll see some of you there again. So it was very exciting. It was in Canada, Toronto. So Lavita was there in the clinical NLP workshop, and we were fortunate to kind of present the Best Paper Award, shared task. And very exciting to see all the researchers from different, of course, corners of the world coming together, and the excitement about the clinical NLP applications. And of course, what those quality databases and kind of platform that we are envisioning can bring to the table and help the researchers in improving those. So with that, again, open for questions if you have any over the slides. And again, thank you so much for having me today. It's been a great pleasure.